What I didn't expect is that this 21-year-old movie was going to teach me a lesson about modern cinema. I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't sure if it was a good idea to watch Brother Bear in 2024 because it's an animated movie and it originally came out in 2003, and at a certain age, animated movies can get a little bit rough. So before I actually went in and watched it, I just hit play on the movie, skipped into one of the beginning scenes just to see what I'm getting myself into. And when I watched those couple of seconds, I literally turned around to my girlfriend and said, "Can we watch this?" Because it was rough. But we decided to watch it anyway because I did watch this movie when I was a kid, and it's so long ago I don't remember any details, but I remembered that I thought quite highly of this movie, and I was wondering how would it be to watch this movie not only in 2024, but also how would it be to watch this movie as an adult versus as a kid. So let's get into it. Starting things off with the point that I was most worried about, and that's the animation of the movie. Now, watching a 21-year-old animated movie comes with its caveats because technology has come so far in those 21 years. I mean, nowadays animated movies, they can look photoreal if they want to. I mean, just look at The Jungle Book. I mean, that movie was literally made in a blue room, and almost the only thing that's real is the human character. Everything else is computer generated. That's also why there are so many live action versions of old animated movies. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm glad that technology got this far and that artists have more options and can make movies look so real, even if they take the artistic approach. I mean, Moana is beautiful. Like, the movie, I mean, she is also a beautiful woman, but you know what I mean.
I wasn't... What? They're calling me, so I gotta...
Now, despite of that fact, many animated movies nowadays decide to go for an artistic art style anyway, but they have a lot more freedom in what they can do technology-wise, but that freedom of having so many art styles to go for also comes with the risk to decide for a bad art style. Maybe some of you have heard about this, but there's actually a phenomenon in arts that having a limited amount of options or tools can actually make you a lot more creative. For example, there are artists that try to make a wonderful drawing by only using dots. Or it's actually also the concept Minecraft uses. If you play Minecraft, you only have very rough structures and big blocks, although you want to build very detailed buildings. But that limitation the game puts on you, or you as an artist consciously put on you, can actually be the fuel for more creativity. So modern movies having the ability to make movies photoreal doesn't necessarily have to lead to a better movie. And the perfect example for this is the movie Brother Bear. Because my god, my first reaction to the art style of the movie, where I almost decided not to watch the movie, turned out to be so wrong. Now, I'm gonna admit it does take a while to get used to because it is a lot more like a drawing compared to movies like Ice Age that don't look photoreal but look so crisp and high quality. But that aspect that would at first glance seem like a disadvantage for this movie actually made it look so beautiful, because the lack of the technology to make this look photoreal or highly detailed forced him to take a more artistic approach, and this movie has so many beautiful scenes. So many scenes of the movie, if you click pause, it would be a wonderful drawing that many people would love to hang up on their wall. The most beautiful things are actually the Northern Lights. And you might think that's cheating a bit because Northern Lights are almost always beautiful, but we can actually make a comparison between the Northern Lights in the first Frozen movie and the Northern Lights in Brother Bear. And the Northern Lights in Frozen are also beautiful. I mean, don't get me wrong, Frozen is a beautiful movie. But the amazing thing is that the Northern Lights in Brother Bear are still beautiful even by comparison, although they're so much simpler and so much less detailed and so much less high quality, but it has that drawing aesthetic that also fits really good into a movie because the movie plays in a primitive time and it also shows cave drawings. So having the movie itself be like a cave drawing by comparison to modern movies kind of really gets you immersed in that old world. And for those of you that now think when comparing these two side by side, no, I don't want to watch Brother Bear, the Frozen movie looks so much better. Give it a try. When you actually watch Brother Bear and adjust to this older, more artistic, drawing-like version, after like 10-15 minutes, you don't even notice it. You just feel the pure emotion that gets conveyed by the artwork, and you're gonna stop analyzing it for its quality in a technical sense. But I do have to mention one aspect that's kind of annoying about the movie in a technical sense because of its age, and that's, for whatever reason, the movie starts in I think it's 16:9 aspect ratio, but because later on it does go into a 21:9 aspect ratio, you're gonna watch the first 15 or 20 minutes of the movie like this. This is not me zooming out, this is me going to the original side, how you're gonna see it if you watch the movie. And I don't know about you, but for someone like me that really cares about the size of a display, having that size just be reduced by like 20% is kind of a bummer, but don't worry about it. There's nothing wrong with your settings. As soon as he turns into a bear, actually, the movie switches to 21:9 aspect ratio and you'll be fine. Now, I enjoy talking about positive aspects of a movie much more than talking about negative aspects, but there is one drawback that comes to watching this movie, not necessarily 21 years later, but watching it as an adult and not watching it as a kid. Because there are many animated movies, especially Pixar is brilliant at this, where you feel like, oh, it's an animated movie, it's made for kids. But when you actually watch it as an adult, you're like, wait, this movie took me on such an emotional ride. And this movie touches on aspects that a kid can't possibly understand or grasp entirely. So it's an animated movie that at first glance seems to be made for kids, but is actually for adults. Now, how Pixar does that is maybe a topic for a separate video, but in my opinion, that's one aspect that this movie doesn't do great. First of all, the only thing I knew about this movie is that the protagonist turns into a bear. That's the only thing I remembered from watching it as a kid. But despite that, the character arc is very predictable and very unnatural. Like, of course, you want to have a character arc, so the character has to start at a more negative place, but end with a positive character evolution. But in this case, the negative traits of the character are so extreme at the beginning that it doesn't seem like a natural person. It's more like, hey, look at this character. He has the following flaws, and we're going to hammer those flaws home that any kid understands what's wrong with him. And that probably works for kids, but it makes the movie feel a bit unnatural for adults.
How's it going, Bear?
Don't call me that.
Oh, sorry,
No, I mean, I'm not a bear. I hate bears. This is a human trap, and you're just a dumb little bear. So there's really no way you're gonna be able to...
And then what adds to that is that the characters behave kind of unnaturally or unrealistic to move the story forward. So this is a primitive tribe of 15, 20 people. So they have to be very smart at what risks they take in nature and what risks to avoid. And this guy that got 18 years old, so he can't be a complete maniac, but now that the story starts, he suddenly decides to attack a bear, throw a rock at him, provoke him, and of course that gets his friends in trouble.
Kenai!
Where'd he go? No, you gotta get out of here. Why? The bear behind you. Ah!
Now, don't get me wrong, the characters in the story are still very enjoyable to watch as an adult, but it's just one aspect that I noticed that this movie doesn't do quite as well as other movies. But to wrap things up, I think you should definitely watch this movie because I can talk about the lesson it taught me all I want, but there's a difference of hearing me talk about it and actually experiencing it. So I highly recommend you give this movie a shot. Even if you haven't seen it as a kid, I think it'll be very refreshing to watch a movie that looks so beautiful, although it's so minimalistic. And if you have watched this movie in the last couple of months, please let me know how your experience was in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.